Usually, large groups of the infected are chaotic, mindless mobs, but today, I found hundreds of them strangely grouped. And their clothing, were they uniforms? But they looked like... No, that cannot be right. They surely cannot be.
What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and it's been a good 2 weeks since my last dedicated zombies video, but tonight we have quite a bit to talk about when it comes to the release date, some images, and even some shocking plot twists for DLC 2 Zombies that you haven't heard of yet. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because about 70% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so make sure you guys are getting notifications every time I update you on Black Ops Cold War. But the beauty of tonight's video is talking about what Craig Houston meant when he said, and I quote, "We're gonna look back at the DLC season for Black Ops Cold War and say I didn't see that coming." So we have quite a bit to talk about tonight that you didn't expect whatsoever, but also when you get a chance, make sure to tune into my previous video where we talked about Year 2 of Warzone, since Treyarch has teased quite a few massive updates coming to the new map. We have updates coming to Season 2 Reloaded, and even the Zombies Plague event, which is going to nuke the entirety of Verdansk. But also show some love to Sizzle for sponsoring tonight's video. Now, tonight's video is sponsored by Sizzle for Streamers. You can actually download Sizzle for Streamers for free thanks to the partnership we made just for you guys that support the channel. So, Sizzle is a platform that allows you to download automatic, action-packed highlights of your Twitch and YouTube streams within just 12 hours. It works for games like Warzone, Valorant, League of Legends, Fortnite, PUBG, Apex Legends, and even Garena Free Fire. Now, one of the greatest parts about Sizzle for Streamers is that there is no PC software required. Everything can be done on the website, and there's no app you need to download to do all of this magic. It's currently open to Twitch streamers with YouTube support coming very, very soon. Now, using Sizzle is actually very simple. You have to create an account on sizzle.gg, link your Twitch account that you stream on to allow Sizzle to detect your latest streams, and you want to make sure you click refresh on your stream dashboard to detect your latest live streams. You then select any one of your past streams, and with a couple of clicks, turn it into a Sizzle, and within 12 hours, your Sizzle will be there available to download. So it's actually funny. A couple of months ago, I was saying that YouTube and Twitch should have a feature that somehow auto-generates highlights, and what do you know, it's a reality now thanks to Sizzle. So I'll be using this 100% with my longer Sunday streams to make sure that you always have the best moments to look back at in case you guys missed out on the stream itself. But don't forget, Sizzle is still in open beta, but any Sizzle made during the open beta period will be completely free, and you can download the app for free using the link down below in the description. Thank you to Sizzle for sponsoring tonight's video. Now, back to the video. Let's start off with a release date for DLC 2, which we presume to be the Berlin Zombies experience. So, a little while back, we talked about this really weird advertisement on PlayStation 4. It hasn't been seen on any other platform but the PS4, but the advertisement did talk about some type of event that was going to be live in Black Ops Cold War until April the 2nd. And what do you know, April the 2nd is a good and solid 20 plus days before the supposed start of Season 3. And if I had to take a guess, I would say dropping a reloaded update for a season makes sense a good 15 to 20 days max before the end of the season itself, just to end out the season on a bang, right? And Season 3 should be starting on April the 22nd, according to the Battle Pass, but that of course could change based on delays, the pandemic. You never know, the Battle Pass could get an extension for all we know, right? I wouldn't be surprised about that. But don't forget, right, before the reveal of Die Maschine, I was able to see a pretty big info dump about Black Ops Cold War Zombies. I made plenty of videos talking about early information about Die Maschine, Firebase, things that we heard about before the title reveal of the launch map for Black Ops Cold War. It was crazy, but around that time when the info dump came out, there was some interesting character over on one of the popular Call of Duty Discord channels who managed to drop leaked images of Die Maschine pre-release, and we're like, the images looked fake, they didn't look like it would be anything crazy. It was an image of this low-res Noctur and Toten, right? It looked weird, and we're like, wait a second, Noctur and Toten again? And the image was legit. You guys probably know what the image is that I'm talking about, but that same person went ahead and said that a Berlin Zombies map wouldn't be dropping until Season 4. So that still could be the case, but if that was true at one time, sure. But considering Firebase was scheduled to release during the beginning of Season 2, but then they pulled it forward and dropped it in Season 1 Reloaded, maybe that could have changed the release window for all future DLCs after that, so that now Berlin is guaranteed for at least Season 3. But I would say since Firebase was a launch map at one point, they've had plenty of time to work on other DLC Zombies maps as well, so at this point in time, Berlin should be ready to go, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it at some some point in Season 2 Reloaded, but I think the icing on the cake of all this is with Codename Pizza, because he did a Treyarch Q&A right before Outbreak released for Black Ops Cold War, and supposedly in a video he had claimed that he heard DLC 2 was dropping in Season 2 as well, and at this point that sounds like a great surprise for a new roadmap for Season 2 Reloaded, so I wouldn't be shocked to see that at the end of the season. Like I said earlier, seeing Season 3 release with the Treyarch Warzone map, the Easter egg for Zombies Outbreak, that's quite a bit of content in a single day already, so I'm sure Activision's going to want to split things up a little bit and drop more frequent updates over the next couple of seasons, and every season going forward should probably last a good 40 to 50 days, depending on if they're going to have a total of 6 seasons by the end of Black Ops Cold War's life. Don't forget, we also got a tweet yesterday from Tom Henderson where he said that we are going to see a mid-season update for Season 2, but it's unclear if DLC 2 will release during that window. It's definitely pretty possible, and on top of that, I think it's fair to say that if we get a new Zombies map during the Reloaded update of every new season, we'll get a good 7 to 8 total Zombies maps by the end of Black Ops Cold War's life cycle. But on top of that, we then got some images that I think you guys may have missed, and these are very interesting, right? So the first one is a calling card showing Samantha walking in Berlin encountering some zombies, and got some vibes of Berlin from the Die Maschine intro, so we're going to probably go back there during some point of DLC 2, and I find it interesting how this calling card released around the same time of Firebase Z's release, and it has been known and proven in the past that calling cards could tease future lore for zombies maps, for multiplayer experiences, and some other surprises that developers have in store for us. We then got another image of literal Nazis and Hitler escaping the Dark Aether, so I'm like, wait a second, this is a massive tease for something that we're going to talk more about in this video as well, but this is 100% teasing something that they want us to look at, and these calling cards were dropped with the Outbreak Zombies event, which has ended by now, but as you guys might remember, we were able to do some challenges in the Outbreak Zombies mode and over at the Shipwreck for Warzone, and by doing all these challenges you unlock some blueprints for a pistol and a sniper. It was a pretty cool event, but I was pretty surprised to see it end so soon within just, what, a week and a half? And I'm sure we'll get another Zombies event at some point in Season 2, considering we have a big Zombies Plague event dropping over in Verdansk. So yeah, those images are pretty hot. If you guys aren't convinced that they aren't teasing anything, then allow me to explain what that's talking about. So first off, we have Valentina, a character that we see in the Firebase Z ending cutscene. She is playing a pretty important role in what's going on over with Omega, but here's why. She could be a Dark Aether double agent, or a mold at least within Omega, and we have a lot of intel suggesting that she doesn't care too much about what Omega's goals are, but she's trying her best to pit Omega and Requiem against each other so that the walls of both worlds can be weakened, allowing for some plot where the Nazis could escape the Dark Aether where they may have entered many years back. So as we know, time works differently in the Dark Aether, and the Nazis may have entered a portal back during World War II, but might not come out until right now at some point during the Cold War, but time in the Dark Aether may have passed slower or faster. We're not sure how the physics work over in there just yet, but they may have been in there for X amount of years learning endless knowledge about some advantage they can get over the rest of the world. So when they exit that Dark Aether, they could have some tricks up their sleeves that we just haven't heard of yet, and Berlin is being described as the focal point of the Cold War within the world. So we have a quote that the world will be watching, according to some of the intel and radios that we found over in Outbreak and over in Firebase. So we could see some interesting dynamics with gameplay in DLC 2, where there's maybe civilians or a city life featured in the Zombies Outbreak over in Berlin. So that's going to be interesting, right? Seeing different styles of gameplay that they've never experimented with in any previous Zombies map. And we know about Berlin for quite some time. I would say before Die Maschine even released, we knew that we were going to be getting a map set over in Poland, right? The Nocturne Toten remake, which is Die Maschine, one in Vietnam, one in the Ural Mountains, that's of course Outbreak, and then Berlin, and at some point we should be seeing some map set in Germany, maybe around Der Ries. Again, that's a little unclear right now, since it looks like with every new Zombies map we're going to be getting direct intel, ciphers, radios that tease exactly where we're going next. So Berlin without a doubt is the next map, but other intel has suggested that Valentina is working with somebody outside of all of this, somebody we don't know about right now, some other mole that might be right in front of our face that we haven't expected, and the best bet is definitely Eddie according to community theories, but could even be a person that we saw at the beginning of the Die Maschine intro. Could that person be Eddie as well? Sure. Somebody is spying on Sam, and you never know who that could be, but I would definitely say this definitely goes along with what Craig Houston was saying about looking back at the DLC season and saying that we just didn't see that coming. I think there's going to be some characters that we're familiar with that end up being bad people that nobody could have guessed at this point. But a cipher also revealed what the end goal could be for the Nazis, right? Why would they come out of the Dark Aether, right? What could their goal be if World War II is already over? So here's what it is, right? The goal would be to actually do something which was based out of real world events, or events that the Nazis had planned that never saw light of day necessarily, and that's Germania. So Germania was what the Nazis had planned to turn Berlin into if they had won World War II. This was projected renewal of Germany under the vision of Adolf Hitler, and with advanced knowledge of the Dark Aether from being in there so long, the Nazis could definitely have an upper hand with technology or just knowledge overall that can help them accomplish something that Craig Houston has been writing for quite some time, right? Who knows what it could be, but I can definitely see this being something that Craig Houston has us very shocked about, something that nobody could have guessed. And looking at a picture of Hitler himself from a calling card, what could that mean, right? Is Hitler going to be a boss in a future Zombies map? I mean, how crazy would it be to see a banger final DLC 4 boss fight against Adolf Hitler, right? That's something that has been speculated for well over a decade now, right? I can remember since Kino the Toten was out back during Black Ops 1. I remember seeing so many conspiracy videos on YouTube when YouTube was in its early days of gaming videos, looking at people speculating that we're going to fight Hitler, he's around 50 boss. I miss those days, man. Those were crazy. But seeing those conspiracies maybe come to light over in Black Ops Cold War could be very interesting. But considering all the censorship and all those political issues, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pull off a Hitler boss fight. But maybe someone that resembles Hitler that you know is him, but they won't call him directly by that in the game. You guys know how it goes, right? It's risky even saying the word Nazi in a video. But we're going to do it anyway and see how it goes here tonight. But people out there who don't think Eddie could be an antagonist also get me by surprise, right? Because people out there expect Eddie to make an appearance at some point in a future DLC and be the same Richtofen that we know and love from the previous Aether storyline, but Craig Houston himself has said that he doesn't want to rewrite Richtofen's story or bring back the character in the same way. He mentioned that if characters are going to return in future seasons, he'll do that, but with a twist, of course, right? Because that saga of Aether is over now. This is the Dark Aether storyline that's going in a whole different direction. So with that, I wouldn't be surprised to see Eddie be an antagonist of some sort, or somebody that's kind of hungry for knowledge. He wants to, open up things that were closed off in Tagger Toten. He wants to learn what happened, or wants to learn what could be next, and maybe he goes crazy in the process of that. And Eddie also may or may not be voiced by Nolan North, so that's going to cause some community issues that I could already see happening right now, but I personally wouldn't mind if they did recast them. I know it's crazy, right? Nolan North is Richtofen. Who could replace him? I totally agree, but don't forget, like they did with Woods in this game, they recasted him for unknown reasons. I guess you could say it was because this game was originally a hard reboot to Black Ops, similar to Modern Warfare 2019, but later they decided to make this a direct sequel to Black Ops 1. So by that point they were locked in with the voice actors they had picked, but when it comes to this Dark Aether story, it still is a direct continuation from Tagger Toten. They brought Samantha's voice actor back. She's been doing Samantha for a decade, and now she got to do the adult version of her for the first time. So you're probably like, why wouldn't they bring Nolan North back for Eddie? It just doesn't make sense. And again, I understand where you're coming from with it, but I think when Craig said that they're going to take a different approach with some returning characters, that could be what he means, right? Eddie could be an entirely different person, a whole different personality, whole different agenda, with a different mindset that we just never saw in World at War to Black Ops 4. So that could be the excuse for saving some budget, not hiring Nolan North, who could be expensive, and then doing something different with the character. And that could also relate to Victis, right? A group that we expect to make some type of cameo at some point in Black Ops Cold War. They could be brought back as playable operators or something, but along the lines of what Craig was saying with not bringing back the same characters from the past Aether story, they might bring Victis back with a twist, right? They could be bad people, they could be merged into one being, they could be, the giant elder god monster now. Who knows how he's going to bring them back, but I'm sure we'll get reference to them at some point in a future DLC. Now, Eric Maynard and Cal Jitsu, storyline fanatics and geniuses now, I'll have them linked down below in the description, they came up with the first videos analyzing evidence that Valentina is a mole, that there's some double agents working around here, and the Nazis are going to be resurrected at some point in a DLC. Those videos were insane, right? I absolutely enjoyed them, but they also talked about evidence that Major Carver could be one of the moles that is right in front of our eyes right now. So if you had to guess who the mole would be, you would think it's like someone who's German or one of the scientists, somebody that seems more knowledgeable about what's going on in the Dark Aether, but what if it's something that we didn't expect at all? And Major Carver definitely fits the bill for that. So in terms of what his goal could be, I'll have their videos linked down below in terms of the theories and evidence that have been presented through intel and ciphers. It's like I was saying in a previous video though, it's a bit unfortunate because the writing for Black Ops Cold War Zombies seems like it's going somewhere very, very interesting, somewhere that we just haven't gone before in the past zombie storyline. But because of the way Black Ops Cold War is laid out, zombies wise at least, it's really appealing to a casual audience, bringing in new players who might have just played multiplayer or Warzone. So the storyline isn't in your face like it was in Black Ops 3 and 4 with cutscenes, all these big cinematics, big trailers. It's really just back to the roots of storytelling that we had back in the day, right, with radios and ciphers, and I'm cool with it, but a lot of people out there are missing out on the god tier writing that Craig has up his sleeve. But maybe with more DLC that releases with actual zombies maps, more people will get interested and invested in what exactly Craig has planned. Now, on top of that, if you guys are wondering what the odds are of Kino or Toten being featured as a part of this Berlin Zombies experience, I definitely think it's possible to see a couple of areas, maybe outside on the streets, right in front of the theater. You know, the area we were able to see behind the barrier in the Kino spawn room. Maybe the Pack-a-Punch area of this Berlin Zombies map could be the original Pack-a-Punch location from Kino that was up where the projector room was. I just don't see them taking a lot of areas of Kino and adapting them in this Berlin map. I definitely think it's possible, but at the same time, I'm like, look, the way they've approached at least Firebase is that they're responding to community feedback about remakes. Instead of bringing back original zombies maps and changing things up, adding new areas, they're really just taking more assets from the campaign that most zombies players probably never played more than once, if not at all. So they take areas from campaign that weren't used much and then flesh that out to a zombies map. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I mean, people play campaign, no more than one time, so who cares if they bring back a location here, a location there? It's a new zombies map nonetheless, right? A new area that we haven't seen in any previous zombies map. That still fits the bill of a new zombies experience. So let's see. So, you know, we have a Berlin campaign mission that could easily take many areas from the street over there, buildings here, you know, bring in a nice city vibe that we haven't seen in a previous zombies map before. I mean, Shadows of Evil kind of has that, but imagine seeing civilians running around being chased by different zombies or maybe having objectives to save people. That would be pretty badass and kind of on par with those hostage missions we had back during Exo Zombies in the map Burger Town. Imagine seeing Treyarch flesh that idea out so much better with Berlin DLC 2. But the great thing is that Firebase did tease Berlin through, again, intel, radio, ciphers, but the ending cutscene was directly talking about Outbreak. So that's why I'm like, wait a second, they really want us to know about Outbreak, and considering there's a Zombies Outbreak Easter egg coming in Season 3, I'm wondering if Berlin won't come until after the Outbreak Easter egg. What if the Outbreak Easter egg is directly leading into what's going to happen in Berlin? What if, like, at the end of the Easter egg, we get in a helicopter and go to Berlin? I mean, who knows what's going to happen with that, but I definitely still think it's possible to see Berlin before Season 3, right? Just to kind of give breathing room for whatever they have planned for the next season. But last and definitely not least, we have the possibility of whatever's going on with the Nazis in Dark Aether tying into Call of Duty 2021. So it's been rumored by now that we're going to have a Call of Duty next year set in the 50s, but also some type of spiritual successor to World War II, where the war didn't end or might have ended in a way that we didn't expect, where the Nazis still held power. So if we have this Germania story going on over in Black Ops Cold War, could that tie into what Sledgehammer is working on next year? Certainly a possibility, but oftentimes you don't see many writers working together across the three studios, right? Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer. We of course have the crossover of Black Ops and Modern Warfare now, but for example, we had the character of Imran Zakayev, who did play a role in Modern Warfare 2019. We got a picture of what he looked like during the Cold War era, but then when we saw him in Black Ops Cold War's campaign, he didn't look anything like that. I mean, I don't know how that mistake happened, but at the very least, we do have the same character existing in both games now. But maybe Sledgehammer has worked together with Treyarch to make sure that they know what's going on in zombies, how the Nazis have held type of power thanks to being stuck in the Dark Aether, and maybe in that game we'll get another zombies mode that builds off of Treyarch. So we talked about this in yesterday's video too. I'm like, look, there's a possibility now, considering the success of Black Ops Cold War Zombies, that we have every developer doing zombies every single Call of Duty now. They took 1 year off with Modern Warfare, but now they might go back to that system of having every developer do zombies, but maybe this time, to make it a bit different, they have every zombies experience be under the same continuity to make sure people are still interested and kind of stay on board with what's going on in a single storyline rather than three, or I would say a new one every single year. That could be a bit of a change that Activision is interested in. You never know, but that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on Berlin being DLC 2? What are your thoughts on the release date and even some plot twists that you definitely didn't expect? Really hope you've enjoyed. Leave all your thoughts down below, and peace out, everyone.
Evac successful. Returning to base. Outstanding. I'll see you at the landing pad.